Hi everyone, Kurt here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at Flysimware's Beech C24R Sierra for Microsoft Flight Simulator. This one helps to fill in an area that I think needs more content. That is, really nicely modeled small airplanes. There are some out there, of course. The A2A Comanche springs to mind and a couple of others, but it feels like an underserved corner of flight sim if you're a guy like me that flies piston singles almost exclusively. Anyhow, let's get into it. The Sierra slots in a little faster and better equipped than the Cessna 172s, and with a little bit more horsepower at 200 horses, but not quite at the power and speed of the Bonanza or the Comanche. In the real world, it's an affordable but capable airplane that would be a good fit for most private owners who don't have the kind of wallet it takes to run its bigger brother, the Bonanza. The Flysimware Sierra is a great looking and detailed model. Check out this little spring in the landing gear. That's not just a texture, it's a fully rendered little spring. So cool. Most panels and caps can be opened and inspected via the tablet, which, while not really necessary for simming, sure shows the amount of effort that went into making this a true virtual airplane. When it comes to the flight model, the Sierra feels responsive, but it has weight, and you do notice this as you move through different speeds and phases of flight. It's particularly heavy at low speeds, such as just before touchdown, where I end up having to roll in quite a bit of trim. There are some minor quirks which Flysimware have been working through, but these are only really right at the edges, for instance near to stall or at minimum speeds. Landing gear drag and flap drag have been discussed a bit on the Discord, and updates have been released tweaking these. They have a couple pilots in that discussion with lots of experience in the Sierra, so I have confidence it will only get better. Overall, the flight model feels really nice to me, although it's not exactly on par with A2A's Comanche. But the Comanche is not really an apples to apples comparison since it's a faster, larger aircraft. A more similar comparison would be with the Just Flight Piper Aero 4. That Piper's been around a while, and in my opinion, it doesn't really match the fidelity of the Sierra in either looks or feel. Visually, Flysimware has done a great job. The exterior model is fantastic. In fact, I'm not sure I've seen anyone do better. The interior isn't far behind, however, it seems like the seats in the cabin aren't as nicely rendered as the exterior. There are certainly some areas where a lot of work went into it, such as modeling the movement of the cables and the pulleys under the dash. I don't pretend to know much about 3D modeling, I can only really speak to my own impressions, but I feel like the exterior is just far better textured than the interior. I'm a function-first kind of person, so having perfect-looking leather seats isn't really that meaningful to me. And although the passenger models are, in some cases, improved, some are the older versions, which look pretty dated when sitting next to their newer cousins. I don't like 3D passengers, so I don't use them anyway. The Sierra includes 10 different liveries with registrations from various countries, so you have lots of options on how you might want to dress it. I really think Flysimware had a bit of a miss by not putting a livery with a custom registration in the package, and I hope maybe that'll appear in a future update. Sometimes this developer's offerings are a little rigid in this regard. I'm happy to see that on this one we have the option to set the payload either via the tablet in the aircraft or using the flight simulator screens. This is really appreciated and something that Flysimware didn't always offer on their previous planes. All of the sound was done by Boris Audio, which I think many of you are already familiar with. Overall, it's all very good quality, but when it comes to engine noise and things of that nature, I'm really not an audiophile. It all sounds very convincing to me, but I'll leave it to others to dig into that part of the aircraft. I really appreciate the headphone simulation settings, which make everything sound as it would if you had some good A&R or even passive headsets on while you're in the plane. You don't often see pilots of small piston planes without some kind of hearing protection. Simulating that kind of sound adds a lot to any plane, in my opinion. An area where the Sierra really shines is in its avionics options. It provides a nice mix of traditional and glass systems, which makes the plane enjoyable no matter how you prefer to set up. It fully supports the TDS GTN XI 750 and the PMS GTN 750 as well, or if you like, you can use the Microsoft Flight Simulator working title GNS 530s. It gives you a lot of flexibility depending on your preferences. I've had a lot of fun playing with the Garmin G3X, but I'm more of a steam gauges kind of pilot and will use it in that configuration most of the time. Set up that way, you have a pair of Garmin G5s front and center rather than a traditional attitude indicator and HSI. At $34.99 US dollars, it sits pretty much right in the middle for piston single add-ons. In my opinion, it's a better option than the Just Flight Arrow, and that package costs $10 more, and it isn't the same quality in my opinion. If you're going to spend that kind of money on a piston single, you'd do yourself much better by skipping the Arrow altogether and going up to the A2A Comanche at $49.99. The Comanche brings some nice features to the table for that money. At a $34 price, I think the Sierra is delivering well beyond its cost. A link to the Flysimware site will be in the description, and the plane is on the Flight Simulator Marketplace too if you prefer to buy there. Have you tried the Flysimware Sierra yet? If so, what did you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know what you thought. If you liked this video, I also did one for the A2A Comanche, which you should see on screen now. Hopefully this video earned a like or your subscription. That's it for now, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.